Well, good morning. Everyone doing all right this fine, lovely morning? I hope you are. I think I am. Tell you what, though. Oh, goodness gracious. It's getting harder and harder to get myself together. Do what needs to be done. Get on the road and start this video. And I didn't want to this morning. I wanted to go over and put one in the old fashioned way, sitting down there with some material that I wanted to talk to you about. But oh no, it didn't happen. Nothing happened the way I wanted it to. That but behind the wheel, headed out. You know, as far as I know, a lot of traffic here. Excuse me, more traffic than I'm used to right here. Oh, excuse me. So much I'd like to talk about. This so much feel I need to talk about. Well, gasoline went down today, 10 cents a gallon. That's good. Thanks to Bidenomics now, it's only $1.50 more than it was when the plan to ruin the country started. Well, the current plan. I don't want to get off on politics. Now, here's my question to you today. Are we part of the system? What system? Well, I'm not talking about the political systems. No, I'm talking about the religious system. The system of church. That's the term I don't mind using when talking about the religious systems of the world. They're churches. They deserve that denominational structure. If you're part, you do or not. So when you think of them like the Southern Baptist Convention and the Northern Baptist and the Methodist and the Presbyterians and all that, you see the hierarchical system. You see bishops. Over the regular ministry, and you see the Protestant version of the College of Cardinals, and you see the president of the convention. And I'm going to say there ain't that much difference between the president of the Southern Baptist Convention and the moderator of an association. Now, some of y'all might not like my saying that, but I can't help it. That's what I see. I do not see that system in the New Testament. Indeed, it was touted up in America. Well, let's just talk about this for just a second. There were 3 little volumes published by the Baptist Historical Society in England back in the 70s. And man, they were expensive. I'm not lying. I'm talking about 3 little paperback stapled in the middle. It might have been that thick. I'm not even sure they were that thick. Well, I have, I think 60 pages is about the longest one. And they're associational records up to 1670. And you do not find the associations as were established in England in the 1600s anything like the American associations or what the English associations later became. What you got is what you had there was they would rent out rooms in a tavern or public house, as they called them then, and everybody'd go up there. Everybody. Who's everybody? The messengers that were sent to the association. Probably the pastor, deacon, maybe one other, maybe 2. And that's all. There wouldn't be any preaching as such, like we know, like we find. Nobody preached an introductory sermon. Nobody opened with song and prayer because they didn't sing back then. Now, they did have prayer. And they did have, for want of a better term, I'm going to say letters from the churches, but they weren't like modern letters. We're in peace. We're not in peace. We've got troubles. We've had this. No, they weren't like that seemingly. Basically, their letters would have been what we would today in associations call queries. They came together, they prayed, they shared with each other the state of the churches. They didn't need to read a letter, they just sat around and discussed it. Then they had queries and they discussed them and formulated an answer if they could. They didn't print a statistical table, they didn't even print minutes. They wrote out a circular letter that went to the churches. Didn't go out to any of the others. It was for them. When the change happened, I don't know, but it certainly happened by the time associations were formed in America, the first being Philadelphia. And of course, the plan was for a United Baptist Front. And this came about a few years after the associations were formed. Morgan Edwards, First Baptist historian in America, was behind most of it. Whether he was behind the originalization of it, I'm not sure. But he certainly took up the cause, and that's one of the reasons he wrote his history. They determined, Philadelphia Association determined that no Baptist church in America should not be in some form of association. That every state, that you should have your local associations and you should have a state organization, a state association, excuse me. And all your local associations would report to the state association. And the state associations would report to Philadelphia because they were the ones that could control everything and make sure everything was running correctly. We got to straighten out some of them folks. Aren't you glad that never happened? Enough of it did happen amongst the missionary Baptists once the conventions and the national organizations got started. It became about the same thing, didn't it? Excuse me, goodness. Those Baptists wanted to be like the nations round about them and have a hierarchical structure. But as the Lord said of Israel, so says he, I believe, to the spiritual Israel, this people shall dwell alone and not be numbered among the nations. They shall not be numbered among the Gentiles. They shall not be numbered among the heathen. Are you saying missionary Baptists, Methodists, and Presbyterians are heathens? Yes, I am. I'm saying they're all a part of the Babylonish system. Every one of them. Do you mean everyone that's in them's going to hell? Absolutely not. Or else the Lord would have said, come out of our mind, people. People get the idea when we say, when I make the statement that the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ, the congregation of God, rather, the assembly of Jesus Christ on this earth in the United States is found amongst the old school primitive Baptists, not among the modern primitive Baptists, not among the missionary primitive Baptists. I see some of them went over to Mongolia just the other day, just got back. I hope they had a good time. They did not represent anything primitive Baptist, I don't believe. Mongolia. But even we have had our problems. The with hierarchy, associations. Rule by one instead of rule of the many. I'm going to say it like this: hierarchical intimidation of churches, of congregations, to keep them in line with a system developed by men, headed by a man or men. If you side with Wells Track Church, you can't commune with Aunt Susie no more over here because their churches are going against them. Oh, we've made it. We've had communion with them forever. Well, you're wrong then. You're wrong now. The Lord's Supper is for a congregation, not to have a big fancy blowout. It's for an assembly, not for an association or a group. Paul didn't tell the Church of Corinth, call in a bunch of folks in and tell them when your communion meeting is. He said, when you come together. And that's not saying we don't have fellowship. We don't have, communion gets used for the Lord's Supper, but I believe it shouldn't be. You can transliterate some word, you can call it Eucharist. I don't care as long as you don't call it a sacrament. Anyway, we could have fellowship, we can have communion with our brethren. Yes. We don't have to partake of that with them, or them with us. It shouldn't affect the love, fellowship, communion that we have for them, or them for us. Would. What about the rule of the pastor? No, he's not a ruler. He's not to lord it over the heritage of God. There's no hierarchy there. What Jesus tell them? Ye are all brethren. It's not like Animal Farm. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. That's the way mankind wants to take it, but that's not the way it is. Yeah, all brethren. Doesn't matter what your gift is. Doesn't matter uh, what in what position the Lord has placed you. What office you hold. You're still all brethren. Every one of you. Some people don't like that. They don't want to be brother. They want to have the high place at the feast. They want to sit in the prominent place. They want to be noticed, like the Pharisees of old, with their broad phylacteries, with their long fringes on their robes. That's still around, that spirit. Lord, preserve us from it. Lord, preserve us from it. Well, with that, I'm going to hush. Hope the Lord gives you a good day and blesses you with His presence. That you feel Him, that you hear His voice. Rise up, my fair one. Come away. That He'd give you sweet refuge from this present evil world, for at least a short while. That's my prayer for all of y'all. And I hope He richly blesses you in it. Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow.